All right, in this video, we're going to talk about all the pros and cons about living in Calgary. By the end of this video, you will know everything there is to know about living in Calgary, the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, well, the most important thing I think is to talk about nature and parks and lifestyle. I mean, who doesn't want to move to a city if you don't have the right lifestyle? And I have to tell you, Calgary has the most amazing parks. There's too many to list in this video, but I'm going to name off some that I love, some of my favorite parks. Fish Creek, number one. I mean, Fish Creek is a massive park and it offers so much, everything from being able to bike, just being able to go on the walking paths. It goes into the forest, so you've got a mixture of everything when it comes to Fish Creek. You can't get enough of it. Nose Hill, way up in the north, absolutely amazing. The wildlife up there is crazy. If you get up in the early morning, you're gonna see deer, you're gonna see sometimes the odd coyote, but it's really cool. And the views of the mountains from Nose Hill, absolutely amazing. And if you like mountain biking, you'll love Nose Hill too. Another mention, Sandy Beach. Oh, what a great place. The Elbow River flows through Sandy Beach. You can take the dogs down there. They can run around. It's not too deep because the Elbow River branches off from the Bow River. Absolutely beautiful. The Glenmore Reservoir, I mean, amazing. You can have a whole bike path around there. You can jog, ride your bike. The reservoir, you can get on a sailboat and sail around. They don't offer motorized boats in the reservoir, but you can do all kinds of boating and paddleboarding in there as well. And my last one, Edworthy Park. It's right on the Bow River on the west side of town. Anytime you're near water, that's a good thing. Great park for all kinds of different activities. And of course, when you're near the water, same thing, the dogs and the pets and all that can go into the water. Cleanliness of a city is so important, and I got to tell you, I've been in a lot of cities in both Canada and the United States, and I'm telling you right here and now in this video, Calgary is the cleanest city in Canada. It's amazing the job that our city does at making sure that the city is clean, but I think it's also the people who live here. We're proud of our city and they do a great job cleaning up after themselves. I love how culturally diverse Calgary is. We have done such a great job of attracting people from all over the world that come to live here, and it makes us so culturally diverse, and that gives us a lot of options for things that you can do. So number one, when you're culturally diverse, obviously we have a lot of different religions here as well, and I can tell you, whatever religion you are, we have a community here in Calgary for you. Whatever that is. I know there are mosques and temples and churches of every kind all over the city. So do yourself a favor. If that's important to you, look it up, because I'll guarantee you there'll be a community for you, whatever that looks like. And the other thing that comes with cultural diverse is, of course, music, arts. We have a great music scene in Calgary. It's not exactly Music City, Nashville, but we are probably the north side of the border of Nashville, because we have a lot of people like country music here, you know, the Stampede, people really get into that. Studio Bell was probably one of the best buildings they ever built in Calgary for that, and it's an icon now. And if you're into music, you definitely have to check that out. But there's all kinds of music venues constantly throughout the city. I love the Glenbow Museum. It's been under renovation for quite a while. It's going to be ready soon. Don't have a date on that, but that's coming pretty quick. Also, the TELUS Sparks Center. I mean, that's a great place if you love science, and a great fun place for kids. So these are just a few mentionables, but I can tell you, whatever kind of cultural diverse thing that you're into in relation to arts, music, religion, Calgary has it all. You just have to do a little homework, but it's here. Now, for those of you that have an active lifestyle and you're really into sports, well, again, I can't say enough about Calgary. I mean, after all, we did have the 1988 Olympics here. And even though that was a long time ago, it really set the tone for making Calgary active, because they made all the infrastructure, and we still use it to this day. That's why we have COP. So I mean, Fantastic place to learn to ski for the kids. It's a year-round playground. There's mountain biking and all kinds of things to do in the summertime. And of course, along with that, we have all kinds of different venues all over Calgary when it comes to swimming, when it comes to playing hockey, when it comes to doing figure skating, when it comes to going to the gym. But here's the thing when it comes to outdoor activities. Our bike paths, you should see them. They go through the entire city. Like if you're into cycling, it's absolutely amazing. Not only within the city, but even if you just want to go outside the city and ride out to Bragg Creek, phenomenal. 40-minute drive or less out to Kananaskis. Beautiful place, the Highland Pass for cycling. And of course you have the mountains as well. So when it comes to outdoor activities or indoor activities and whatever sport you're in, soccer, hockey, basketball, volleyball, I don't care what it is, gymnastics, Pilates, you name it. I'm telling you, I think also because we're so culturally diverse, yoga, people have brought that to our city, and that's why these venues are all over the city. And there are so many indoor activities and different buildings that you can join, from the YMCA. You know, it just goes on and on. Rock climbing is another one. So again, do your homework, just Google it, you'll see it. All right, do you love pets? Do you have a dog, do you have a cat? I mean, maybe even have snakes, I don't know. But I'd say probably the most common people have as pets is dogs and cats. And believe me, this city, when it comes to dogs, it's phenomenal. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's not even just Calgary, but more and more people really love to have their dogs. And we have dog parks all over Calgary. They can run free, have a great time. Almost every community that you live in this city, there's a dog park either in the community or pretty much next door. Now, education. What a great city for education. University of Calgary is one of the top universities in the country. Mount Morrell University, and then we also have SAIT, which is also one of the most popular programs. And believe me when I tell you this, if you are interested in the trades, we need you here in Calgary. There is such a shortage of people to work in the trade industry, you know, welders, electricians, plumbers, that sort of thing. And the SAIT program, one of the best for all kinds of different trades. Now, who doesn't want to save money? Well, you know what your biggest expense is every year is the money that we give to the government by way of taxes. And you'll be happy to hear Alberta has the lowest provincial tax rate in the country. You only have to pay GST here. There's no HST here. This is a pretty big deal for anybody when you're doing your taxes. And I'm telling you, a lot of times people are always looking for sales at stores and whatnot. Pay attention to your taxes. It's your biggest expense. And if you're paying too much where you are now, come to Alberta. Now, people don't always think about how much sunshine that we get in the course of a year, and you'll be happy to hear this. We have the sunniest city in Canada. And it surprises people because even in the wintertime when it's cold, like I've seen minus 35, it's bitterly cold, but it's still sunny. And I gotta tell you, it's a good feeling because I've gone out to a lot of other different cities, especially if I go west out to Vancouver. You go there in the wintertime, it can rain for like weeks and even months without even having one sunny day. You'll love how much sun you get living here. Now, do you like markets? Do you like farmers markets, outdoor markets, all kinds of different markets? Well, we have tons of them here in Calgary. Now, obviously in the summer months, there's a lot more outdoor markets that are available, and all you have to do is just, Google them because they pop up all over the place in the summertime. But even in the wintertime, we've got farmers markets all over Calgary. And what I love is the products at these farmers markets, most of them are all grown locally in Alberta, and you can get some phenomenal market. And one thing to really mention are Alberta beef. We have the most amazing beef in the world. We're renowned in the world for our beef. And you'll go to some of these farmers markets, and I'm telling you, you'll get the best beef you've ever eaten anywhere in the world right here in Calgary. Now, just to mention the mountains again, because I can't say enough about the mountains. I mean, I grew up in Edmonton, and it's one of the reasons why I came to Calgary is I really wanted to be near the mountains because the mountains offer us so much. I mean, It's that year-round playground, and it's so amazing that it's a 55-minute drive into Canmore, Banff. Lake Louise is not much further. We have world-class skiing at Lake Louise, Sunshine, even Mount Norquay, not a huge mountain, but it's still phenomenal. Nakiska, I mean, you don't have to go far to take all this in. If you're really into hiking, well, you can go on a different hike every day for a year and never see the same ones. I mean, it just doesn't stop. And of course, even if you want to go a little further into British Columbia, you can be in Invermere in like 3 hours. I mean, it just doesn't stop. The endless possibilities of places you can go and things you can do. That's just a short drive, like a one-day drive. You don't have to stay overnight. You can come right back to your house in Calgary. I really think the mountains are one of the most important parts of living in Calgary when it comes to lifestyle. Now, in and around Calgary, we're not known for a ton of lakes, okay? If you're coming like from Ontario, well, Ontario's just got lakes all over the place. So I hear this quite often, where's all the lakes? Well, you know what Calgary did was really cool, is we built lake communities, all right? There's 9 communities in Calgary that have man-made lakes, but these man-made lakes are beautiful. You can swim in them, you can fish in them, paddleboard, canoe. It's a complete lifestyle. And you come here in the summertime and you'll see people really taking it all in. They have beautiful beaches. You can take the kids to it. You don't have to go anywhere else. In the wintertime, it's great seeing all the nets out. Kids are playing hockey, or if you just like to speed skate around the lake, you can do that as well. So if you like water, just come here, buy a home or rent a home in one of the lake communities, and you will love it. All right, just mentioning all the wonderful things about Calgary, and of course there's even more, but there's only so much time we can do it on these videos. But last thing I'm going to mention is something a lot of people don't think about, is our airport. We have a fantastic airport, and take it from me, I've been to almost every airport in Canada, a lot of the major cities in the US. Our airport, it's pretty brand new because they added a massive extension to it, very well organized. Rarely do you have to stand in lines to get in and out of the airport. It's really well run. I love the fact that we have an international section, we have a domestic section. So, you know, when you're living in a place like Calgary, where we are a little further away from the border of the US, you tend to want to use the airport a lot, and you're going to appreciate having this kind of an airport. You know, I love it when people give me comments on these videos, so please feel free to put your comments in the comment section. And of course, if you're enjoying these videos and they're helpful, I mean, go ahead and like it and subscribe, because I do these videos all the time and you'll really enjoy seeing them. They're different topics, very informative. And if you're looking at Calgary, whether you live here now or whether you're coming here, trust me, subscribing to my channel will be a benefit to you, I promise. Hey, by the way, if you want to message me, you can send me a text, you can call me. Like, I actually answer my phone. So actually, please, I'm giving you that invitation. Call me anytime, just don't call me past 10 o'clock at night. That's all I ask. And you can also send me an email if you like. I'm easy to reach. Yeah, and if you just have questions about Calgary, questions about anything, the real estate market, whatever your question might be about Calgary or the surrounding areas, don't hesitate to reach out to me. All right, so some of the negatives to living in Calgary that you should be aware of is our weather fluctuations. And unfortunately, we do get some crazy weather patterns living here. If you're not familiar with Chinooks, you should look it up online. We get a lot of them in the winter time, especially, where it can go from being very cold to very warm quickly. I've seen it go from -20 to 0 in a matter of hours. And this can really mess with some people. I know my wife actually gets a lot of headaches from these Chinooks, and that's something you have to really consider. But the weather is amazing how drastic it can fluctuate just about any time of the year. Even in the summertime, I mean, I've had a beautiful 25-degree day. All of a sudden a thunderstorm comes in and it'll literally drop to like 12 degrees that quickly from like 25. So be prepared for that. It is a bit of a negative. Now, you're gonna probably want to have a vehicle if you live here. I mean, there are people that do it. Don't get me wrong. Especially if you're living in the downtown core, we do have a C-train system. It's okay. I think compared to big centers like Toronto, it could be a lot better. It's not an underground subway. It is an overground system. And we do have transit throughout the whole city. But primarily, to really get around the city with ease, you're most likely going to have a car. And I know for some people that's a bit of a negative. And of course, along with owning a car, parking is also a bit of a problem. And I'll tell you, I don't know what it is about Calgary, but I've parked my car for 10 minutes, ran in for something, and sure enough, I get that ticket in the mail. These guys that go around looking for people that haven't paid for their parking, they are doing a great job for the city, because I've had my fair share of parking tickets. So be aware, parking is expensive, and do not leave your vehicle anywhere unless you've paid for your parking, or I'm telling you, you're getting a ticket. Now, the nightlife in Calgary, to me, if you're comparing it to big cities like New York or Toronto or Vancouver, well, yeah, we don't have the kind of nightlife that they do, unfortunately. So if you really, really love nightlife, Calgary may not be for you. There is nightlife, though. Don't get me wrong. There is bars, there is a nightlife. It's just limited, and depending on the music you like and the kind of venues you like, you're going to have to really look for it. But again, it's just not going to be what it is in some of these big cities. And there is a lot of country music bars in Calgary. I mean, after all, the whole Stampede thing, Alberta. So there's a lot of people here that are into country music, and if you're not, you might find that to be a bit of a negative. But you are, hey, bring your cowboy boots, your cowboy hat, and yahoo, get ready to go. In the wintertime, by the way, I talk about the weather fluctuations, but the other thing to mention is it is so dry here. I'm telling you, you are going to have lotion and a lot of it. You're going to have chapstick. In the wintertime, especially when it's cold, I'm constantly putting lotion on and chapstick on all day long. It just feels like there's no moisture in my skin whatsoever in the wintertime. So be ready for that. January is the worst for that. So if you come here in the winter, bring your moisturizer. You will need it. Now, if you remember in 2013, we had a major flood in Calgary and also down in High River. And we had what we would call the perfect storm that happened in the spring, where we had a major amount of water coming out of the sky. The snowpack hadn't quite melted yet, so there was not a lot of places for the water to go. So we have experienced flooding. Now, fortunately, we haven't had any flooding since 2013, any major flooding, but there is a risk that's there. I have to say the town of the city of Canmore and the communities around Calgary have also done a great job of mitigating these floods in the future, but it hasn't been tested. So if you're going to live in Calgary and you're going to live in a flood zone, you should be ready for that and understand that insurance can be very expensive, and in some cases you can't even get flood insurance. So make sure you get some advice around that and do your research. Now, being that we are close to the mountains and we're close to British Columbia, we've had some pretty hot summers in the last 10 years. And we get wildfires in those mountains. And if they're in the interior of BC, well, guess where the smoke goes? The wind tends to blow from the west and it blows right into Calgary. So we've had some summers where it wasn't very good. I mean, I've seen it where even there's ashes in the air. It can be bad. Now, it usually goes away at some point, but I've seen people with asthma and some lung problems. This can be a real factor. You should think about that before coming to Calgary. Now, do you like planting gardens, like to grow your own food? Well, it's not easy in Calgary. There's an old saying in Calgary, never plant before the May long weekend, because oftentimes there's still frost. So you can see we have a very tight growing season here in Calgary. It's very difficult to grow food in your backyard. So you're going to have a little bit of a green thumb, and you're going to have to really get educated on which kinds of fruits, vegetables, and whatnot should be grown and what responds well into our climate. Now, when it comes to utility bills and hydro, I do know that our electricity is fairly expensive in relation to other parts of Canada, because making electricity is not something that we do a lot of here in Alberta. So you will find that our electrical costs are more, but here's the good news. On the flip side, we are an energy province, so we have plenty of natural gas. So our heating costs, because we use natural gas in the wintertime, really brings down the heat costs. So there's a little bit of a trade-off, But all in all, the feedback I get from people coming here is that our utilities are slightly higher than other locations in Canada, all in all. Well, do you have children? Here's one thing that we've seen. Last year, in 2023, we just got the stats on this, by the way, 185,000 people moved to Alberta from different parts of Canada and different parts of the world. 81,000 of those people came to Calgary. Many of them brought children. Now we have a bit of a problem. It's hard to find a doctor and it's hard to find a school that's not already overcrowded. One of the biggest challenges that we have is you might find a beautiful house you want to live in one of these great communities in Calgary, and then you go to the school and discover that the school is full and your kids have to be bused outside the community even though you're walking distance to the school. That can be frustrating, and you need to understand that if you're going to come to Calgary. Now, being that we are, in the province of Alberta, we're quite a distance from the US border, and we're quite a distance from where they grow fruits and vegetables. We have to truck in a lot of our fruits and vegetables all the way from California, parts of British Columbia, Washington State. That makes it a little more expensive when it comes to fruits and vegetables. Also, if you like seafood, it's also pretty expensive here because that also has to be flown in daily for that. So be prepared for your dietary foods that you prefer, because in some cases you are going to pay more for some of the good fruits and vegetables that you want to eat. All right, some of the last cons to consider. In the spring, a lot of times, people get pretty excited when the month of May comes along because they think, hey, summer is almost around the corner, we're going to have a good spring market, but it does rain a lot actually in May and June. So even though we are the sunniest city in all of Canada, we do have a rainy season, and I think it surprises some people because it comes in the months of May and June. But trust me, we grow a lot in Alberta and we need that rain. So it is good for farming, it is good for what we grow here, but not great if you expect that you're gonna have this great weather. And the other thing that you're gonna find living in Calgary, we are close to the mountains, it really cools off at night. You'll notice even growing up in Edmonton, you can sit out in the summertime, at 10 o'clock at night when the sun goes down, and you don't really need a jacket. Living here, it really cools off. You'll notice that people have those outdoor heaters all over the city, so you might want to pick one up if you're going to live here. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I have so much fun putting these videos on and really educating people on what's going on. So if it's been helpful, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and believe me, the more subscribers I get on this channel, the better the videos that I can do and the more content I can put on. And you can like it if you enjoyed the video, and of course you even get notified by hitting the bell button whenever I do my next one.